Hi guys, Jordan from B&B Campers. I'm just going to be doing a handover video on this Hymer Exsis. It's based on the Ford Transit chassis, which is a little bit unusual. Normally based on a Fiat Ducato or Peugeot Boxer, but they obviously just decided with this particular model to base it on the Transit, as you can see in here. Personally, I quite like the Transits. I think they drive really nicely. This one's 3.5 ton as well, so you can drive it on any car license, which is always handy as well. So under the bonnet, we've got your brake fluid, power steering fluid, and engine oil. The engine oil dipstick is just down here. Air filters inside this box. You've got your fuel filter at the back, and your washer fluid and coolant just behind there. If you want to jump start the vehicle, you have got this down here, which is a positive terminal for the engine battery underneath that little cover there. And if you want to earth it, it does tell you just here to earth it from this little engine hoist thing just here. So that's how you would jump start your vehicle battery. Just inside the passenger door, you can see we've got the electric window. The leisure battery sits underneath the passenger seat just there, hence why there's loads of cables and things going inside there. Lots of storage on these Transits throughout the cab, up there as well. I'll show you around the inside of the cab when we get through to the other side. Just behind the passenger door, we've got your diesel filler cap. Freshwater filling point is this one just here with the blue cap. The toilet cassette locker is the next locker along. So you've got a freshwater flush on here, which is this blue pipe on the right hand side. To take the cassette out, we lift up on the yellow tab, or the orange tab, sorry, and then we can take it all the way out. All you need to know from there really is that you empty it out from here. And when you're physically emptying it out, you should hold down this little orange button at the back as an air pressure release valve. Line it up and push it all the way back in, and that's it. Towards the back, we've got this here, which is your heating hot water. This is your boiler vent. So if you've got the boiler lit up on gas, you will feel hot air pumping out through the bottom of this. In this locker at the back, you'll see both of these are on gas struts, so they will hold themselves open. We've got really good access to the boiler. So if anything major was ever to go wrong with the boiler, which, it probably won't, fingers crossed it won't, there's nothing wrong with it as we speak. But in the worst case scenario, if something goes wrong with this boiler, whoever's going to have to do the work with it is going to be very, very happy to see that you've got this big bit of storage, and it'll bring the time and the cost way, way down. So as I say, hopefully nothing will ever happen to it, but if it does, super easy to get to. Spare wheel is inside here, absolutely massive garage at the back of this particular model. You can just about see everything in there. I'll show you around on the other side as well. You got the gas locker in there as well. So at the back of the van, we've got your reversing camera. You've got the brackets here for a bike rack, so if you did want a bike rack fitting, you can have that done in the future if you would like. And you've got the tow bar down there as well. So on the off side, again, see, good sized garage. All the original carpets are in here as well, and the awning winder is there. Now inside the gas locker, we've got these two bottles just here. These are both refillable Gaslow bottles. So the Gaslow bottles themselves are filled up. I'll just show you this first. Are filled up just down here through that filling point there. On the front of both of the bottles, you've got a little gauge telling you how much gas you've got, and they're both showing pretty much full at the moment, which is always handy. These are about 13 kilos, I think, these bottles. There might be 11s actually, but yeah, either way, lots and lots of gas in the vehicle at present, and it will last you a lot longer than you might expect. So to turn the actual bottles, oh sorry, just dropped the camera there. To turn the actual bottles on and off, we've got two ways we can twist this valve at the top. If we go anti-clockwise around to the left, that is how we turn the bottle on. And if we go all the way down clockwise down to the bottom, that's how we would turn the bottles off. So you should really turn both of these bottles off before driving. The absolute last thing that you want in the event of a crash or an accident is 30 millibars of gas pumping into the vehicle. So that's how you would turn those two off. Up here as well, you've got a auto changeover valve. Well, it's actually not an auto valve, but it's a changeover valve. So you can, basically the idea behind this is that you can turn this valve just here and select which bottle is sort of putting the gas into the vehicle. So the regulator itself is this part here, but this is your changeover valve. So if one bottle runs out, you can twist it around and it'll start taking gas from the other. So I'm going to leave the gas on for now because we've got the fridge on inside the vehicle and I want to show you a few bits working. So, see there, Silverline. These two vents just here are both to do with your fridge. So if you've got the fridge lit up on gas, you will feel hot air coming out through this top right hand side of this top vent. And the reason for that is flames about here, comes up through the flue, and the exhaust for the actual system is just up here. So that's why you can feel that warm air. This little hatch is for your electric hookup. And we've got another D-bar lock up there as well. But just down here behind the rear wheel, we've got your wastewater drain off point, which has got its own little handle on the side in order to drain out. There you go. So, just going to wipe my feet off because it's a bit wet outside. So, as I said, based on the Ford Transit, so I'll show you through the cab now, whilst trying not to get anything dirty. It's just been cleaned. So, in the cab itself, we've got a couple of nice things. So we've got the reversing camera just over here on this screen. One of the highest specs you can get in a Ford Transit, really. So you've got the cruise control on the steering wheel. You've got the stereo adjustments from there, but you have got a nice new Pioneer head unit up here. So it's a doubled in size Pioneer head unit. You can turn your lights on and off from just there. You've also got over in this corner, we've got your electric adjusting mirrors and your headlight adjustment. You've got the 6-speed manual gearbox from there. You've also got the heater controls from here. Your air conditioning switch is by pressing on this button just there as well. So all the goodies in there. A couple of spare wheel nuts and your towing eye in there, and a 12-volt socket. This folds over like so to work as a cup holder. There you go. So, I think that's about it for the cab, really. Not a huge amount to run through. So the layout in this particular vehicle is a super popular layout. Kind of like the industry standard for these A-class motorhomes. Obviously they come in all sorts of different shapes and sizes, but having the two fixed single beds at the back there like that is really popular. Both of these front seats will swivel all the way around as well. And obviously you can, if you want to, you can turn this area here into a little bed as well. Drop down bed over the cab. You've just literally got this little seatbelt clasp up here, and then you can pull down on this and it'll make up into a nice big double bed. So first things first, I'm going to run you through the control panel. So as soon as you get into the van, you'll see the control panels above your head. This is one of the easiest control panels you will ever use. It really doesn't come much easier than this. So what I'm going to do first, I'll just turn it off. So this is as it will be when you come to it. So to turn the actual control panel on, Press that button just there, and straight away we'll get this little light here come on, just telling us that the 12 volt has been switched on. You can then scroll through all of these different options, and what it's doing is it's essentially just telling you your leisure battery voltage here, fresh water level here, wastewater level, and then vehicle battery voltage. And I know it's leisure and vehicle because the vehicle battery is here at the front, leisure is at the back. Now the reason that both our batteries are at maximum power is because we've got a solar panel up on the roof, and it's a duo controller, which means that the solar panel is charging both engine and leisure batteries at the same time. So that's over there, giving us really good charge going into both batteries. If we had the electric hookup plugged in, this little symbol here would light up orange. And if there was a problem with something, we would get this little symbol here. But basically, to turn the control panel on and off, you do that, press that button there, and that'll then just give you power going to all of your lights. And also, the only other thing that I need to show you about that is once you've turned your power on up there, if you want to use your water pump, you've got a switch just here, which I don't know if you'll be able to hear it on the video. But basically, using this little black switch just here, turns the pump on and off. So let's just say we don't want to be using the water just yet. We'll leave that switch turned off like it is now. And when we do want to use it, pump switch on, and we've got pressurized water. So, control panel doesn't get much easier than that. Next door to that is our boiler switch. Now, I will show you that in just a minute, but I want to explain a few other things to you first before we do that, which will make sense in a minute. So, the first thing that I like to run through is normally how you prepare the vehicle for using the boiler. So how you prepare the vehicle for getting the water hot, and so you don't run into any problems. So to make sure that the boiler is actually full of water and you've actually got water and you're pressurized and stuff like that, there's only really one way of doing that. Now, obviously we can go through here and see how much fresh water we've got in the fresh tank. That's fine. So you've got 1/4 of a tank of fresh water, but there's no gauge or no indicator to tell you how much water is in the boiler. Without taking the boiler out and giving it a shake about, which obviously you can't do, there's no way of knowing. So to know how much water the boiler's got in it, all you need to do is turn your water pump switch on and draw the hot water. So as long as the water comes through like it is now, it's not coughing at us, it's not spluttering all over the place, it's coming through nicely, I can turn the tap off now and the pump, and I know for a fact that the boiler is definitely full. If the boiler wasn't quite full, so I can show you that now just by coming in here. I'll explain this in a bit more detail in a minute, but basically what I'm doing here is draining some of the water out from the boiler. So if I just press this button down, you can hear there the boiler just emptying a load of water out onto the floor basically. And I'll lift this back up. So that there, just as a little side note, that is your boiler drain off. You push down to open it up and let the water out, lift it back up again to stop the water from coming out and allow you to fill the boiler back up. You've also got down here next door to that, you've got your fresh and pipe drains as well, so you can drain out your fresh water from those. Right, so now I know for a fact that a little bit, not much, but a little bit of water from the boiler has just gone out onto the floor. Okay, so now that we know that, I mean, just as a tester basically, now we know there's a little bit of water not in the boiler. When I turn the pump back on and draw the water, not very good pressure, not very good pressure. Now it's coming back through again properly. Okay, so basically what happened there was when I turned the pump on and drew the water through on the hot side of the tap, it came through really weak for a couple of seconds, which is the boiler just filling up to its maximum again. And then as it got to the top, it started pumping through nice and clear. So that's why you have to make sure that you just do that just once, just to double check that the boiler is definitely full. If you try and light the boiler up on gas or electric to get the water hot and there's nothing in it, you're going to run into some problems where it's, you know, it might overheat, it might burn some wires out, whatever. But it basically just won't work properly. So make sure the boiler is definitely full of water by drawing the hot water through on the tap. Once you've done that, you can go ahead and use the boiler however you want. So if you want to use a boiler on gas, that's this little dial up here. Over here with the little green switch is essentially how you heat the water up on electric. So if you had an electric hookup plugged in, you can just turn the button on there and it will start heating the water up via the electric. So the heating in the vehicle is gas only, but you can heat the water up on gas or electric. So up here, if I just zoom in a little bit, we have got up to the top either 40 or 60 degrees, and that is our hot water only setting. So if I went up 1 or up 2, the boiler will light up on gas, and it will essentially, where I've got it now, it will just keep going until the water inside the boiler gets to 60 degrees. Back to the middle, turns the boiler completely off. If I go down once, it comes to the little gas flame symbol, and that is our heating only function. So the heating will start pumping out through any of these little beige vents around the vehicle, and after about half an hour to an hour or so, the van will be nice and warm. The one at the bottom, the amber light will come back on, and that basically means heating and hot water at the same time. So the amber light, generally speaking, means that the water is being heated up, so that's why it didn't come on for the heating only one. All right, so I've just heard the boiler light up straight away, and essentially, as long as you don't get any red lights come up here on the control panel up here, you're good to go. So that's how you use the boiler on gas up there. As I said, if you have got the electric hookup plugged in, you can select just here on the little green switch, you can turn that on and off from there, but that'll just literally just do your hot water. So that is the boiler and the control panel, boiler drain and fresh drains down there as well. So you've got the 3-burner hob, so the ignition will spring to life as soon as you turn that control panel on. So if I just show you, literally just push in and round on whichever one you want to light up whilst pressing on the igniter, and that'll get the gas flame coming through nicely. Underneath that, we've got the Thetford 3-way fridge. So 3-way fridge meaning obviously that it works in 3 different ways. The button on the left hand side here is your energy selector. Okay, so we've got gas, 240 hookup, or 12 volt. Now the 12 volt and the hookup are both giving us fault codes right now. So it's saying fault code number 8, and then the 12 volt is saying fault code number 10. That's the correct fault codes. That's basically just telling us that 1, we can't use 12 volt right now because the engine isn't running. This requires the engine to be running. And we also can't use the hookup because the electric hookup isn't plugged in. Okay, so that's all that's telling us there. So at the moment, the only way I can use the fridge is on gas. So I'll select gas and just leave it alone there. No fault codes this time, and we can then adjust the temperature. So basically it will light up on its own, and that's how you light it up on gas. Easy as that. The other two, the mains hookup is the only other one that will get the fridge cold from warm. So, you know, basically before you leave, you need to get it cold either on gas or the mains. And then you switch over to 12 volt for whilst you're driving. So the 12 volt is for holding the temperature inside the fridge whilst you drive, and the other two are for cooling the fridge down. So either gas or electric for cooling it down, and then 12 volt for when you drive. press and hold on this little button just here to turn the fridge completely off. And that's it. Easy as that. So absolutely loads of storage in these upper cupboards. As I said, you've got a really nice layout in here. You can lift this cupboard up. It sort of doubles up as a bit of a wardrobe here as well. A little bit of storage down here as well. Lots of little clever nooks and crannies for the storage. Bathroom. I don't tend to spend very long in the bathrooms because they are so self-explanatory. This sink tap just here will pull out and meet up here for you to use as the shower. The toilet is normally the only thing that I actually explain because the rest of it's literally just left, right, hot and cold tap. But the Thetford toilet cassette is super easy to use. You've got a blue button over here. If I press on that, flush fluid comes in. And then just down here on the right hand side, we've got a lever. So if I push that to the right, it drains everything that's in the bowl into the cassette, and then I'll pull it back. And that's it. You've got the fan option on here as well. So that's what that is just there. You can turn that on and off by pressing it. And then on the left hand side here, we've got the telling you basically how full the cassette actually is. And there you go. After a little while, those lights will go out, and that is it. So the door comes across and meets just here, locks across like that really nicely. Just trying to see if there's anything else. I mean, obviously there's various lights around the vehicle. At night you'll realise just how many lights there are. Really nice and bright in here. Can't really tell so much during the day, but just one of those things. But yeah, so I don't think there's really much else that I need to show you. I think the rest of it, windows and things like that are all pretty self-explanatory. Perhaps the blinds, if I just show you how to use those. So you've got blinds and fly screens. So the first one that you'll see here is your fly screen. Down to the bottom, like so, and then you've got your fly screen, your blind that comes down. So every window in the vehicle will have a blind and a fly screen, even the skylights. So you've got your blind there, fly screen from the other side. But as I say, the majority of this sort of stuff, you will find it'll all sort of become second nature, and it'll all become really quite easy. It's normally just the appliances and things like that maybe take a little bit more guidance. But yeah, so you've got the basics now. There are a few videos on the channel here as well. If you want to watch another video of really a bit more in depth about that, sort of priming the system and making sure that everything's pressurized and all that, there is a 10-minute video on just that. There's also another one on how to winterize the vehicle. So when it comes to winter, various bits and pieces to do, just little good tips and tricks. But yeah, so have a little look at that if you want to. Don't have to, you've got the basics here on this video. But yeah, so I think I've covered everything. If I've missed anything out, just let us know. But otherwise, I look forward to seeing you soon. Thanks very much.